Hey everybody. So today we're going to assemble one of the new, what I'm calling rugged off-road trailers. And these are 1/24 scale, work good behind a SCX 24 Kyosho Mini-z 4x4. This is a red version, which I should have posted fairly soon. But today we are going to assemble a white paneled one. So anyway, so this will be the basic assembly. Hopefully it'll be a fairly quick video. It's a small trailer, but there's a decent amount to actually in putting it together. So anyways, let's go ahead and get to it. And one of the first things, you probably have two packs. One will be all the panels, which will come with a masking tape on them. You'll want to go ahead and remove that. So let's go ahead and get all our parts pulled out. I'm going to dump all the small parts into the tray here. For some of you that know me as 3D Sleekun, that's sort of a designer name, so I'm actually now going to be rebranding to Sleek RC. So you may see some Sleek RC mentions and stuff related to my stuff, but it's still me. It's still me making it. Still same quality and everything else. So nothing's changed there. All right, so let's start with sort of separating the pieces here a little bit. Some of the first ones we're going to start with are going to be the axles, and then go ahead and get together these three. They're the front frame parts. So we'll go ahead and set those aside. We're going to start on those first, and everything else will just sort of set over here to the side as well. So let's go ahead and we'll get the axles ready. I have another video that's made for the larger trailers, sort of the car haulers and enclosed trailers and stuff. It shows how to get these axles put together and running smoother, because they do come with plastic bushings. You can put bearings in. But to get the plastic bushings to run smoothly, there's another video. I'll go through the process here, but that one might be a little more in depth. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention to start, few fuel tools that you'll need. I like to have a little electric screwdriver with various tips. I use one of these. I think it came with like a FMS Atlas. For putting the axles on, a little bit of oil to help the axles run smoother. Some pliers usually help, and then I use E6000, which is about the same as Shugu, or I think Gorilla makes some. You only need the tiniest little amount of glue. So anyways, putting together these axles, I just run it up through here. And then I just keep going. It kind of smooths out the inside of those bushings. That's why the electric screwdriver helps some. Then I just put a little oil here on the back side. I'll let that run. And then I'll take one of the adapters, I'll put it on. Regular 7mm hex. I'll tighten it a little bit, and then I just back off the opposite end. Then what I usually do is back this end off a decent amount so I can put a little drop of oil down inside there. You don't want it too far up on the threads because you want it to stay on, but just enough oil to where it'll help it slip a little bit if that plastic hits plastic. There we go. All right, now I'll go ahead and do another one. It does come with 3, so just in case you mess one up. Okay, now that we've got those together, I don't need these, and change my screwdriver over. All right, so let's get started on these small parts. I like to have sort of a skinny screwdriver, and you'll see why when we go to mount these. So I'm just going to get some screws started for right now. These are the upright frames. When you look up under here, you'll see a screw hole. Go ahead and put the screw in, but just make it so that you just feel it starting to come out the other side. And then there's 2 side frames. Again, there's a little screw hole up under that lip, just until you feel it coming out the end. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and on this front tongue, go ahead and there's these little parts that stick up. I'm going to put 1 screw here, and again I'm just going to put it in enough to where it's barely starting to come out the other side. The front middle one, there's actually 2 holes there. I only put a screw in the top hole. You can possibly put one in both if you really want to, but I just left it there in the design. And once you've got all these started, I'm actually going to go ahead on the bottom side. There's these 4 holes that hold the side rails on. I'm going to go ahead and just get some screws in them. You don't have to screw these all the way through. I'm just barely getting them started. We'll put the side rails on here in a second. All right, so now let's get the side rails. Should be 2 corresponding holes with a little notch. Should sit flush, so go ahead and mount those. Sounds like I need to charge my screwdriver. All right, do the other side. The thing to watch out for is just make sure this little section here is that front screw is screwed in flush. You don't need to crank any of these down. I mean, these are metal screws on plastic, so you're guaranteed to strip it if you tighten it down too tight, but just make sure that's sitting flush. That way the trailer will be square. All right, so now we're going to take, this is the centerpiece. I guess if you look from what will be the top here, you'll have a notch on both sides. So so that way you know it's the top. It also has the 2 holes down below. So just get it lined up. That screw on the bottom should be just barely poking through. Go ahead and screw that one in. Should be flush right there between the 2 parts. Now I'll go ahead and take the sides. Now for the right side of the trailer, this will be the right side, you'll want to have this part where there'll be a little bit of an angle that points towards sort of the center of the front, and then this will point straight back. Try to get it focused there. So you want to get that lined up. And this is where the skinny screwdriver comes in, because you're going at a little bit of an angle, but it's a little hard to hold. Let me set it down and do it. But you're going at a little bit of an angle from the top. So you have one of those real big fat screwdrivers. It's probably not going to be at a good enough angle to be able to screw it on there. So then go ahead and do the other side. And that one, got to sneak it around the side. So when you get done here, what you should have is you'll have this notch facing this notch facing that notch, and these going straight back. So now there should be two small rectangular pieces. Again, these come with masking tape on there. I've already removed it, so watch out for that. Should be able to slide these down in those slots. Just be careful when you're sliding them around. I mean, the parts are pretty tough, but you know, they will break. So you may need to clean out the insides of these or something if there's a little piece in there, or some stringing or something that I missed taking off when I went to bag it. All right, so now we've got the front panels on there. Now we're going to take this triangular piece. You should have these screws just barely poking through. There's 3 holes on the top of this triangular piece. Just get them lined up. You'll be able to, if you've got the screws poking through just a little bit, you'll be able to sort of feel them hit the holes. So now we're going to sneak the screwdriver from underneath and tighten them up. So again, you may need to just make sure you got those screw holes lined up. Like right there, I didn't have that front one lined up. All right. Now, I know black on black is a little hard to see, but you should be able to tell that the screws are in the holes, and they don't go real far into it, but you should be able to just barely see them right there on the top. All right, so now we can take this this bottom plate that everybody's, I'm sure, been itching to grab and put in there. Now we can go ahead and put it in there. We wait a little bit to put this in because we got to be able to get the screwdriver up from the bottom right there. There's a back bar that goes across. Put that on. There'll be 2 holes underneath. All right, just check, make sure everything is nice and flush. All right, now we set this aside for just 1 second while we put the tailgate together. Go ahead and grab your tailgate. The top of the tailgate has this large bar. You're going to take the small rectangle, put it down at the bottom first, like so. Make sure it's all the way down. And then you're just going to press fit it in there. Should get a decent little snap. There's a little notch right there in the middle, so you'll have to snap that down. But if for some reason some of the different colors are ever so slightly tighter or looser than each other, if you get one that's a little bit loose, just because of the way the stuff's made, you can always take a little dab of glue, put in like the upper corner there, and let it set up just enough to hold it in there. But so far, just about all the colors that I've done are snapping in there really nice. So now we're going to take the tailgate frame. You'll see that there's on on this side, there's sort of like these different little levels with a screw hole. Your tailgate, the flat flush side will be to the outside. You got some large knobs and little ones. The large ones are going to go right down here, and the top ones should fit nicely inside these little notches up here. I'm just doing it like this and sitting down face down while we put these real small parts on that just hold the tailgate in. So go ahead and put a screw through there. This part here will go against the actual hinge piece. I'll show you up close here in a second. Again, don't have to crank these things down. This little tailgate's not going to be holding back 50 pounds of weight. At least I hope it's not. And all right, so when we get done, and looking at it a little closer, what you should see is these here, this allows the tailgate to slide up and down like so. So that way you slide it up and then snap it into place. So you should have a pretty good clearance here and here for the side rails to go on. So let's go ahead and get this mounted. There's going to be 2 holes on the outside. I'm just going to get a couple of screws in there, get them started. Just make sure you get them lined up. All right, so that gets the back part on. Now we're just going to take frames, or I'm sorry, the side panels, slide them into the frames here. Just right here where that notch and that notch are. So again, everything should be nice and square. If something's not quite out of alignment, make sure that nothing got caught up or binding over here, and that all your seams line up nicely. Same thing with the panel on the other side. Again, some of the colors are a little tighter than others, just because they are cast acrylics, so they can vary slightly. All right, so now let's go ahead. We'll go ahead and mount the top. There's some hinge parts here. Go ahead and just barely get a screw started. Be real gentle with these screws. I'm just going to barely get one started and make sure they're straight on each side. Now what I'm going to do is I get these lined up, and I try to hold the top to where it's got a fairly even gap here and here while I screw one side in, because having it like that, once that screw starts going in and threading, then it'll tend to stay with that same gap on both sides. So that way you don't have one cranked all the way up against the inside, and you end up with a nice little gap there and there. It'll still usually keep enough tension to where it'll stay up. It will loosen over time, but you can also go all the way up like so. So we're going to wait to put the top on because that requires a little bit of glue. So we'll do that last. Now let's go ahead and get these axles mounted. Now I'm going to take these axles that we put together earlier. I'm going to put one screw on each end of it. Get that started until I barely feel it coming out the other side. Okay, now underneath you'll see 2 screw holes, and that's where the block will mount. So go ahead and get that lined up and screw that in. All right, I'm going to go ahead and mount the fender on this side. On the inside of the fender, you'll see a little tiny V or arrow that should be pointing towards the front. So you'll see a little V, and that way you know which side to put it on, because there's ever so slight difference between this front part and this front part, or the back part. So go ahead and just set that on there. Go ahead and put some screws in. I like to just get all 4 of them started and about halfway, and before I crank it down, just in case it's ever so slightly off. All right. Now let's go to the other side and get some screws in it. All right, so I'm not going to mount any wheels and tires to this one, but for the regular SCX 24 7mm wheels, you'll just put it on there and insert one of these small screws. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the screws in so that they are there. As far as putting the top on, we'll go with that in just a second. Let me cover real quick how you open this, because it's sort of an odd locking mechanism, but it helps keep it so that it stays closed. What you're going to do is you're going to lift up on the tailgate. You'll see it lift a little bit, and then you're going to pull back on the tailgate. And then to close it, you're going to keep the tailgate lifted. It's going to come together with that top, and then you're just going to snap it down. So that way it'll lock. All right, so let's put the top plate on. I use a tiny little bit of glue in all 4 corners. That's it. You don't have to go all the way around. Just a tiny little bit here. Just a little dot in each corner. All right, and then I'm just going to drop that in place. Of course, that'll take a little while to set up real good, but use that. All right, let's put this trailer hitch together. Now, this trailer hitch is compatible to all of my trailer hitches that I make for the Kyosho Mini-z's, the SCX 24, the FMS cars, the Pandas, pretty much anything I make a trailer hitch for. So let me explain what I'm doing here. There should be 3 of these longer screws. You're going to take this little, sort of like a little U bracket here, and put one of these long screws down that hole in the inside. And in here, you're going to see there's a hole right there in the middle. So we're going to head and you don't want to tighten it down so tight that it won't move. I usually tighten it up and then just back it off enough to where it allows for some movement, so it should freely move. Then I'm going to take another long screw, get it started on the side here. Once I barely see it starting to come through, I'm going to take this other, I don't know, what do you call this, sort of a Y bracket maybe, and it has a single hole through the front part of it. Just going to put that bolt right through there. Just make sure it makes contact with the hole on the other side and gets lined up real good. Now take the final one, put it through the top. And then that's going to go through the hole in the tongue of the trailer. And that should pretty much be it. Now again, this will mount to any of my trailer hitches, or you can probably adapt it to something yourself, but that should let it go all the different directions, so you pull it along the trail with you. So hopefully that's a good explanation for all the assembly on it. If you got any questions, feel free to hit me up. You got all my contact info whenever you buy one. I'm going to be adding other colors such as red, maybe some orange, and some other whatever panels I can get my hands on, and in different colors. And hopefully those will be posted soon. But initially it'll be black on black and white on black. I'm also going to do some silver frames, which look nice with black panels. So other than that, let me know if you got any questions. I appreciate you watching the video. Feel free to subscribe to the channel for any other assembly videos I make, and appreciate you watching. Keep on crawling.